Happy 4th of July. That's a good article title. Happy 4th? With a question mark? Dan Rather wrote an article that was published today. I read it. I like Dan Rather. I've always had an appreciation for his accuracy and his conscience is what I've respected through the years. Now, he's 90 years old, and most of you know that I've always sought out senior leaders and elders who would be good mentors for me. Now that I'm getting older, it's harder to find those mentors, and it's also a time where I'm losing many of my mentors. But anyway, so happy 4th, question mark. I'm going to read some excerpts from the article. The 4th of July is usually a day of community, celebration, and joy. It's our national birthday party, the commemoration of a Declaration of Independence that changed the course of human events. It is a day of star-spangled banners and national pride, and of course the requisite hot dogs, fireworks, and parades. But today, this year, the unity of our nation, its destiny, its self-confidence, the self-evidence of its truths are being pulled apart by forces of such strength that many wonder whether our nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. The answer to the question, of course, of what is currently in jeopardy comes maybe from a bit of historical context. In 1776, the Declaration containing the beautiful lines, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." We've heard these words before, and we know that the many who gathered to ratify independence, including its primary author of the document, Thomas Jefferson, embodied the cruel hypocrisy of slave ownership. From the beginning, sin of human bondage, violence, and injustices tainted what is really the full breadth of these revolutionary ideals. The early experiment in national self-governance under the Articles of Confederation was a failure, and thus leading men of this nascent nation, and they were all men, and white ones, gathered again in Philadelphia to produce a Constitution and a Bill of Rights. Another starting line, another place to set the ship on the right course. Our founding documents contain some of the most aspirational rhetoric in the history of human self-governance. We've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go to establish a just and more perfect union. Perfection, of course, being impossible. But we can be better than we are, and this is the core challenge for each new generation of Americans. In our fitful national journey, we have often seen reactionary forces wrap themselves in the mantle of American patriotism. We've seen the flag and a divisive reading of the Constitution used as cudgels to beat back progress and inclusiveness. What we should celebrate on this 4th is less what happened on that day in 1776 and more of what followed. Our founding fathers, deeply flawed though many of them were, set in motion a revolution in thought that far exceeded their imaginations. The principles they defined, once documented in writing, ceased to be theirs to own and shape. People like Frederick Douglass and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. a century later sought to narrow the chasm between our aspiration and our reality is as much a part of July 4th as the faded words on parchment. And that could be our guide today. We as individuals and as people can choose not to let those who will divide us define this day. We can choose not to let those who seek to disassemble our progress determine our path forward. Not to allow the forces of intolerance, autocracy, lawlessness to claim our star-spangled banner. The United States of America is and always has been an idea more than a place. How dare the craven, cynical actors who seek to destroy the heart of American democracy take away our pride? They will not define America for me, just as their predecessors did not define it for those who fought to make this nation better. The battles ahead will not be easy, but neither was the fight for justice in the past. Entrenched power is never easily overcome. On this 4th of July, I celebrate fully and without reservation. I honor it as a day of struggle, and the struggle endures. I recognize it as a day of reflection on how fragile our rights and democracy truly are. But I also see it as a day to acknowledge how far we have come and how far we can go. I will never cede to an America where that journey is over. And in this I know I am not alone. Celebrate today. Please be safe. And always be blessed.